Hello, welcome. It is Live at 5.
Good evening.
Good evening to you all.
I like it. There was going to be some kind of address there, some State of Union from you.
Well, if there was going to be a State of the Union on the union we live in, then what a state it would be.
God, it's in a state. It's
in a
That's what I
state.
would say. Like our football club. Tom Gibbons and David Talbot both say hi. Good evening.
There you go.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening to you all. This evening time. Dark already.
It is dark.
Every year.
November.
Every year.
I'm not sure it was dark.
I don't remember it being this dark.
No.
This time last year. I don't remember that.
No, it was at 17:06 on November the 3rd last year. It was still light, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Every year.
Gets me every year.
Every year. It just. Ooh.
I'm sure it wasn't this dark this time last week.
No, definitely wasn't. But then this time last week, it was 5 past 6.
Oh, forward, back.
Yeah,
I went backwards, sorry, 5 past 6. So it probably was dark, so yeah, got that massively wrong.
And this, again, more proof of why time isn't real.
Yeah, because
if time was real, then it would be a thing that you couldn't just go, oh yeah, it's knocking out of, lad. Knock it out of.
Tories think money's not real, so there you go.
Well, you think corruption and sleaze isn't real.
Yeah. And rules. Adam Brooks says, before everyone begins pointing the fingers, Rafa needs time. Had Brighton not gave Graham Potter time, he wouldn't have built the team he has now. I think, listen, we know that lots of people don't like Rafa Benitez, and that's fine. I'm not trying to convince anyone to like him or not like him, whatever. But I think the one thing we can say that it's not really his fault, the way the club is at the moment.
No.
We've gone through manager after manager after manager, and we seem to have had the same kind of results with all of them in terms of, at some stage, you have to look above them, and you have to look at what's on the pitch. Are the ones on the pitch wearing the shirt who we sitting watch doing enough?
I mean,
and are the people?
If you're talking about, how dark it is in November, for Everton, generally in November, it's always pretty dark.
It's
always pretty crap. I mean, I was alerted to the fact that yesterday I think 4 years ago, I was in Lyon.
Spanked.
When De Beaters and David Unsworth was in charge, and a certain player was playing up front for us.
Played all right, actually.
And, last year we were rubbish in November, and the year before, Norwich game, and we were rubbish then as well. We're consistent in November.
Poor.
Consistently bad.
Okay.
And that tells you everything you need to know.
You haven't cheered me up.
No, I'm not trying to cheer you up. I did just give you a Babe Ruth, and that's not a euphemism.
I will have to have in a minute, yeah.
And I had one of your filthy butterfingers. November were generally crap, which tells you there's something fundamentally wrong with the football club. We start okay, and then we just go, once the injuries and suspensions or whatever else hit, we go like that. What does that tell you about the football club? It tells you it is in a very, very bad place, and not much is changing, and not much has changed in the last few years. So that tells you that it's a bigger problem than just who's the manager. And the manager is essentially the bed we have to lie in. Whether people like it or not, it is the bed we have to lie in, because the alternative is Eddie Howe.
Some people would take that, don't matter.
Nah, some people are mental.
Mitchell says, I thought I'd been spiked with a diazepam when I watched the Wolves review. Never heard you both so low and demoralised. I think we've definitely been lower than that. I think what it is, Mitchell, is after a bit, when you just keep seeing. Someone said to me on the match reaction, something like, you need to, I need to show more character, because I was calm when I was doing it. But it's like, I'm never going to sit in front of a camera and rant and rave and swear and throw things. I do that in the match. Exactly. But B, the other thing is, you're just seeing it so many times that after it, it's like you just kind of go,
also,
here we are again.
Also, when you're doing, certainly for me on Monday night, the first half was terrible, and I had the whole of the second half to calm down.
Yeah.
And then I'm doing a match video, whereas after the Watford game, I was just purely angry. And actually, when I did my videos on Monday night, I done my first one. It was about things that Rafa Benitez got done. When I did the player ratings, which is about the players, someone said, I don't know why you're having a go with the players when when the manager, and I went, and that's what kicked me off. And I just like, are you going to let these players? If you want the manager reaction that was in the other video, this is about the players and how they've let us down, and that actually kicked me off because I was just like, what's the point? It's like Men in Black again. Pew.
It is mad because the players said, I did say this, I've said this over a few managers, is that regardless of managers, these players just keep getting away with it. People just got, it's like you see it in a game. People are shouting and screaming and not happy and all that. You get beat, the whistle goes, and you're like, and then a couple of them go like that to the Gladys Street, and people go, oh yeah, he's clapped, let's clap him. And it's like, fine if you support them all the way through, no issue with it. No issue with it, but don't be ranting and raving and screaming and booing at the final whistle. And the minute someone claps, you'd all stand up and clap them. You know what I mean? Be consistent. And for me, it's not, you can't put it on the manager. If he spent 100 million,
isn't it?
If he spent 100 million, then yeah, you can have a go with him. But he had £1.6 million to spend in the summer. And these players have been bought by other people who were at the football club. Kane says, can't see how the manager survives the next couple of games. Goodison will be horrible versus Spurs if we lose. All I would say to everybody who blames Rafa Benitez for this now and wanting out the football club, who comes in, just tell me now who you think is, who Everton could genuinely get, who is better now than Rafa Benitez for this job. Because I honestly can't think of anybody right now, because I can't think of anyone who I'd look and go, oh, he'd be amazing, and he'd come here. I really can't. So I don't, and I wouldn't have, everyone knows who watches this.
And the problem would still be there.
Of course the problem
would still be there.
Because there's 30 of them, cult of players. And it's the people above.
Yeah.
The people above are still there.
And the people below.
It trickles down. Kevin says, afternoon, lads, great show with Kane. Enjoyed it. Nice one. Joseph McManus says, yes, boys, great content. The pastime says, give Rafa time. Adam says, give the gaffer more time. Jamil says, how many points you see us picking up from our next 8 games? Because I honestly think we could be near the bottom after those. There's no point doing this, because I remember sitting here 11 months ago and we were going into, it was the Monday after we'd just drawn with Burnley. So it was December the 7th. Or December the 6th, we just drew with Burnley. We'd lost to Leeds in November. It was crap.
Yeah.
We drew with Burnley. And we were sat here and people were saying to us, we won't get a single point in December. And then we beat Chelsea, Arsenal, Leicester, all on the run. Sheffield United, we won that. And all of a sudden it was, we were flying again. And we were second. And people were like, God, I didn't see that coming. I thought we'd get 1 point or no points, and we had 12. And it was like, because you can't predict what's going to happen.
No.
Can you? You can look and go, you look at them games coming up and you go, God, there's some bad games there. There really is bad fixtures coming up now. But would we have all said coming into West Ham, Watford and Wolves, we wouldn't take any points? Because I wouldn't have done.
No.
I'd have gone, I reckon we're definitely getting 5 points out of those 3 games at least, but I'm talking 7. We could even get 9. That's what I'd have been thinking. And we've come out with no points. So there's those games coming up. I back us against anyone at Goodison. Liverpool will be really difficult. There's no question about it. It'll be because they're a great side. But teams like Arsenal and Leicester with our crowd, Newcastle, I fancy us to beat all 3 of those. Tottenham on Sunday, just because of there's got to be a reaction.
Yeah.
So if you can't win, don't lose. Just keep notching the points up until we get like Dominic Calvert-Lewin back, Decore, Yerry Mina, Luca Dean, I think will be fit Sunday, so that's good. Just keep adding the points on. We could go to, people saying to me, we've got no chance of getting the results at Brentford.
They've lost the last 3.
They're good, don't get me wrong, they're good, and but they're not amazing, are they? City, Liverpool will be very difficult, of course it will. But there's other games that we might, you just never know, do you? So I don't like doing it, how many points you think we'll get, because very rarely are you ever right because of the way football is, unless you're a very, very top side, and then you can go.
And there is those considerations to take in of the whole of the spine is missing out the team. Mina, the win percentage without him is ridiculous. Someone was commenting on it yesterday. To be relying on a lad with an injury record like his,
it's not good.
To be relying on so dominantly, and to even look at the numbers and go, that's acceptable. That if we don't have him, is just mind-boggling. That we don't have him. I know. Listen, they may have put too much faith in these lads that we've got at the back. You know, it's one of those things. Maybe they see it. They've got a. You know, they're looking at Brantwaite and think, right, he's the future, so we don't want to block that path. Maybe, I don't know, but I think we do. I think Rafa Benitez will be screaming for a centre back.
You can't really do anything if you can't build a partnership at the back, can you? Because you're looking and going, he's good, and him and Keane are actually quite good together. Keane's always better when he's got Mina alongside him. We can look at Godfrey and go, he looks like he'd fit great with Mina, but at the moment he's not very.
It's all about Mina, though.
But
that's what I'm saying. It's all about Mina.
But if that centre back you can't rely on, I love Yerry Mina, I think he's great.
No.
But if you can't rely on him, what do you do?
The only thing I would say is, from this international break till March, we've now got control of the situation. Problem is, he went to Colombia and he played 3 games. He should never play 3 games in a week. He should have played the first one and the last one. He shouldn't have played the one in the middle. They've caused this. So from now on, we've got control. In other words, when we've got all these games, we might take them out the midweek one, but it's still the same problem. We need another centre back because Mason Holgate. Mason Holgate's not good enough and should leave the club now for his own sake. 25 needs to go.
Career on.
Godfrey needs to take a step back, and Michael Keane. I don't think I've ever rated Michael Keane. So, but I know that when you put him next to someone who's in charge of the back four, and he doesn't have to worry about that and doesn't have to be a de facto leader, he's better when it's just about him defending. So we need to go and get one, and if we could get one in January, that would be huge. But I mean, the chances of that are, I don't know. But we need someone we can rely on. We need a partnership we can rely on, and you build from that. And then in front of them's the core. No, hopefully we have him back after the international break, and then in front of him is Dom. So you're talking about the whole spine of the team. The thing that you say you can graft everything else onto is missing. The thing that you rely on as a football team is always your spine. And there'll always be, at football clubs, always be people coming out the team. But, you know, the manager will look at, you know, City, the goalie, obviously Ederson, then you've got the kid who came in last year, the Portuguese kid, Diaz. Then you've got in front of them, it used to be Fernandinho. Now it's
Rodri, isn't
it? Or Gundogan, isn't it? And everyone else just sort of, Liverpool, obviously Alisson, Van Dijk, Henderson, and then like Firmino. Firmino is normally there. That's their spine. Line. You know, Chelsea.
Players you can rely on.
Same again.
You just need people who you can rely on who are there like through the middle, and we've lost big players for us. It's the way it is. ME1G says, would you take 5 points in the next 5 games? Give us 19 points.
Probably.
After 15. Who is it? Tottenham, then City, then Brentford, Liverpool and Arsenal? No.
Okay.
No, I think I'd want a little bit more than that, because I see Tottenham's winnable, but it's also losable. It's a flip of a coin. City will be very difficult, Liverpool will be very difficult, but Brentford's a game I would look at and think that's a chance to win.
6 points.
And Arsenal at home, I look at as a chance to win, even though they've got a good side. I still think they're not amazing. So I'd look at those 2 games.
But I'd just take one game at a time.
One game at a time.
Certainly with the injuries.
Maybe 6-6, maybe.
Tom Newton, Gary Waterlow. Tom Newton says, just further from the comment yesterday about wanting Brands replaced by Ragnick, just that one simple decision alone would change the whole complex of the club, and every single Evertonian would instantly know what the plan is and we'd have a direction. But something like that wouldn't cross Mashiri's mind, would it, sadly? I mean, listen, I don't know what crosses Farhad Mashiri's mind ever, because I don't think we'd know enough about the man. I really don't. I think we've lived off sound bites for his entire tenure at the football club. When you think about it, he's someone. When you think about it, he's not someone who's front and centre at the club. And there's no one front and centre at the club. We've said this a million times. It's why, and I will still bang this drum, and I will bang it for a long time. It's why Alan Myers should still be at the football club, because he would bang that drum and he would make things very clear. We need someone at the club who's very clear about what the club is doing.
Who can relay the message? If
Would
they don't wanna do
Ragnick
it.
change? I don't know. Ultimately, would he? Probably. But I think the problem with Marcel Brands is, and I think this is forget about players in and players out or whatever. I think the simple fact is he's the director of football, and I don't know what direction our football is going in. That might be just a play on words, but that's ultimately, we talked about this yesterday in one of our video things in the Tuesday topic. We've had managers who are all over the shop in terms of the way they play and how they want to, want to play football and kind of players they buy. Some of them are low key, some of them are Ancelotti's kind of people. There's no direction. There's no common direction. The direction is Bramley Moore Dock, and that's the bottom. And that's the top and bottom of it. They've lost sight somewhere. They've got this perception that getting to Bramley Moore Dock means everything's going to be okay. Well, you've got to get there in one piece for a start.
It'd be great to think it would.
Yeah, you've got, and I understand why they appointed Benitez, because they thought Benitez will come in, do a job, calm us down, get us in a situation where we're all right. But then they didn't account for those injuries. They didn't account for 4 of your best players being out at once. That's what they didn't account for. They didn't account for that, which is, it's a gamble. Of course it is. Like last year, if Dom went out, Richarlison came in, and then that would mean that Dom could come back, and it meant actually we had brought a lad in on loan who never barely kicked the ball for us, and now we've been crying out for someone like that for last month. So they made calculated risks, and I'm not sure you can make too many of those kind of risks with your. I don't think other clubs do that. I don't think other clubs have done that. I think other clubs have gone, no, we'll make sure we've got backups. No matter, the quality doesn't have to be the same, but the template needs to be the same. So you'd have a Decore light, you'd have a big, strong, powerful lad who can come into midfield and do the same. Now they might have thought that was Gbamin, but if you've had a player who's been out for 2 years, you've got to think he can't come in and do that unless they're doing something, and they don't seem to be doing something. Like we were talking about yesterday. Why isn't he playing in the under-23s every other week? Just an hour playing games against young, hungry, fast lads. Do you know, even if it was just to get his confidence up?
Yeah.
And against players he doesn't train with every day.
And playing in a game of football.
For all we know, we might have lads in our training who train with Gbamin every day who might be internally going, I better not.
Like throw a
Better not throw a tackle in on him.
Yeah.
He's a £25 million asset. I don't want to be the fella who gets him, And you could have a mind. There might be a mindset, like, take it easy on him. I think we've gambled, and I think this is where we are now.
I think with Gbamin, like, I'm not gonna write. I know people have written him off. People have said he's crap and all that.
I feel sorry for
I don't know how you can come to that. How you can come to that kind of opinion after 45 minutes of playing when he hasn't played for 2 years, especially when we should have had another midfield player in with him and made it a 3. They might look and go, oh, you know what, he's got the attributes, but it might take him another 2 months to get up to that speed of like dropping them in and taking them out. It is, but we haven't got anybody who can. You know what I mean?
I find it fascinating that he didn't come on for the
game,
and then he comes on in this. I don't know whether Ragnick would do that. I don't know. I don't know. I do. At the moment, I'm finding it very, very, very hard to understand what's going to go. And I know. Listen, these things have been there for a while. This is not new. It's just that with everything going on, it shines a massive spotlight on situations. I think quite a lot of people feel the same. Some people don't. Some people are like, well, what's the difference between now and then? A few injuries will be fine and all that. But I think we're more likely to just try and enjoy the ride while things are good than do that. But when things are going bad, then you've got to have that internal discussion, investigation, really. And how did it get like this? Because if you're going to appoint a manager that's going to cause friction in the fan base, you better make sure you look after him and look after everything else that's going on, and give him the best opportunity to do the job. And I don't think we have. And it's other people at the club. Meister says best Everton centre midfielder of the Premier League era.
That's so fun. Not that they've all been amazing, but there's been different types.
Gary Speed?
Speed was good, but Alan was here for, but he was good.
2.5.
Don Hutchison I loved.
Yeah, Don was great.
Mikel Arteta was brilliant.
Yeah, very true.
Garner, for that type of football, absolutely brilliant. Gareth Barry, what a player.
Yeah.
James
McCarthy should have been the best.
He should have been. But Martinez wouldn't have thought he was the best. So we've had some good ones. We definitely have had some good ones. The best, because you look at people like Lee Carsley, he was good for a while, wasn't he? And Tim Cahill, would you call him? Joe Parkinson.
All fell to bits when he got injured.
What's a tough one, that?
I think Arteta and Barry are really good shouts.
Arteta and Barry, I think, are probably the best overall. They're probably the best two.
I think they're,
and then I'd have Don Hutchison.
The mad thing is, they could have played in the same. Definitely could have played. Great hair between them. I mean, be a race for the mirror, for the hair, between them.
To two of them, I feel like Gary's is less maintenance, really. Just kind of. Gareth, I mean, just like kind of put his.
Adam says, in my workplace, they claim when it comes to promotional positions, they have a philosophy of hiring from within. I personally feel the place is that much of a shambles that they hire from within, as they already know what a joke of a place it is. And if they brought someone new in, that would he would run a mile when faced with the actual farce that is the way it is run. I'm beginning to think Everton have the same philosophy.
It's tough to say.
Yeah. The Everton, yeah, they do tend to give people who are at the club jobs within the club. So
I think there's. It's a tough one because I think you've got to give opportunity to people.
Do you? I don't.
No.
See, I don't.
No. Let me finish. You've got to give people opportunity to progress, and therefore they should have an opportunity. However, in key positions, in my opinion, you need the very, very best, and they have to be experienced. I don't think you can jump from, not in my opinion anyway, running a charity. And I know, listen, Denise Barrett-Baxter might be amazing. I don't know how good she is or how good she isn't. Do you know what I mean? I'm just thinking out loud for me what my opinion is. Right? And I know she was the assistant chief executive and all that. But where's her experience in running big business? Now, what maybe should have happened was Denise becomes CEO because they think she's the best one for it. But then some industry leader, like someone who's been somewhere else and got great reviews, comes in and kind of like maybe as the assistant then CEO, so that Denise, because she knows the club is over that, but this person that's got this great track record with big business actually drives the bus and Denise oversees everything. Maybe that. I don't see enough of that at Everton, enough of these people. We appointed people who were already at the club onto the board. We appointed people who were already at the club into these other key roles. We haven't gone out and got, oh, this fella. You see, I personally would, because a chairman, right? What I'd do if it was my club, Bill would be life president and off over there to have a scran out the way. No input whatsoever other than turn up on a match day, go and have your meal and wave hands and all that, shake your hands, and brilliant. And I'd have someone like Terry Lee, he is the chairman. who's not, you know, he doesn't have to be this big thing, but he's someone who's been in there and done it at the top end of business. And then Denise can be underneath him going, right, I'm overseeing this, because then you've got a reference point to go to. You've got someone who'll go, actually, no, because in business, this is what we do. And then it helps. Who's helping Denise Barrett-Baxendale develop at Everton Football
The simple
Club?
fact is, you've got... Listen, it's debatable to know how much influence that Bill Kenwright has got on the situation. But Moshiri's not a day-to-day man, clearly. He's not around the club day-to-day. He doesn't run the club day-to-day. Denise Barrett-Baxendale runs the club day-to-day. She comes from a charity. I don't personally believe those two things really coincide with each other. I know she was the assistant for Elston, but Elston was garbage. Absolutely garbage. And they're taking their pointers off Bill Kenwright. So they're proteges of Bill Kenwright, who, in my opinion, was fucking terrible at running a football club. You know, and I stand by that.
We've overseen the worst period of our history.
And I've always stood by that.
Carrying on.
I think he's absolutely garbage. I think without Moyes, Jesus Christ, Moyes kept them propped up. I just think he's terrible. I personally don't understand why anyone has got an affinity for the man, personally. Go on like he's the greatest Evertonian. He's not. Dr. Dave Francis is the greatest Evertonian. And years ago, he should have been on the board.
Well, he offered the share.
And he was dismissed because he's not part of the clique. But anyway, you've got people... So now you've got Moshiri on at the club, day to day. You've got people like Denise Barrett-Baxendale, I personally don't believe is good enough. And you haven't got people like you've just said, like a lady who's looking in from the outside, going, well, forget about those people who keep on telling you you're amazing at your job, Little Miss Dynamite and all this bollocks, or whatever firecracker, whatever shite he comes out with. No, I'm going to tell you how you can improve there, and there. Not by this much, but by this much.
I'm talking about her own development.
No, I know, but I'm saying...
who's she going through that's going to help
That's
her
what I'm
develop.
saying.
There's
So you've got a situation where you've got this is what I'm saying, you've got a situation where you've got the same people patting each other on the back, and then Bill Kenwright's level standards they're down here. So what it is going to be, if she walks in and says, I did this, you'll go, yeah, brilliant. Oh,
like you said, I don't know how much influence he has.
We have to look at the proof. When people go, you don't know what goes on. No, but I can look at the football club and see if it wasn't for television money.
Oh, we'd be knackered.
We'd be knackered, and we would be knackered years ago, and we'd still be knackered now. You know, the FFP situation. Where was the adults in the room saying, you need to get hold of this? Not when it was like crept up to there and it was like at its level. Where was the person who was like, do you think this is a good idea? And now I know a lot of it will come from the when we, you know, the Koeman era, when we had all those players. But you do need that fella who comes on the outside who's a good business mind. You know, Liverpool brought Moores in, and he revitalised it because he understood. He's from a football background, but not necessarily from running a club. Came from EA. He had contacts. He knew what was going on. He could see the future. He knew what it was. Build a bigger stand, and they'll come and all this. And I know we're getting a ground, and I appreciate that. And that's Moshiri's ticket out of the club, as far as I'm concerned. But don't they want this club to run better now? Don't they? Like, because even with someone like Marcel Brands, I don't think he's accountable to anyone now because he sits on the board. So it doesn't feel like he's accountable because it doesn't feel like it's a very strong board. The people on the board, to me, just seem like nodding dogs, yes men. But who are they saying yes to? Because Moshiri doesn't really... I don't know. To me, I do think they need someone. Yeah. One person it could be from the outside who comes in and goes, is it like, you know, we were around when Trevor Birch, he walked in and went, you're going to have to sell Rooney. And Kenwright was like, what?
Get a new ground, sell Rooney.
You're going to have to sell Rooney. And he just went...
Refused to do it. He walked out the door because they weren't listening to him. And we ended up selling Rooney anyway. So we lost Rooney and Trevor Birch.
Yeah.
we will come back to this. Let me just say a shout out to Leon Burns, who's a young boxer. He's an Evertonian, season ticket holder with his dad Leon. He won an important boxing tournament on Sunday. The semi-finals on Saturday, won, and then won again on Sunday. So congratulations, Leon. Keep it going. Watch his Toffee TV as well. Big Blue
Keep us updated.
So keep it going, Leon. And let us know continually how you're doing in your career. So good luck, mate. Well done. Yeah, it's a frustrating thing because it just annoys me that it is a case of Groundhog Day with everybody. It's like the same cycle. You get to the summer, and I know this summer was different because the manager wasn't exactly greeted with with open arms and excitement, and then we didn't give him any money, and so kind of like the excitement was tempered, shall we say, going into the season. But the season as a whole, it just starts off well, and you go, right, we're looking all right here, and then the injuries come, and the inevitable Carabao Cup defeat comes, and once we lose key players, it then gets into a frustrating period where the wheels fall off it a little bit. This happened last season with Carlo. We started off 7 wins out of 7. It was great. And then we picked injuries up. And then we lost at Newcastle, and we lost at Southampton, and United come and beat us, and Leeds came and beat us, and the injuries were there. We kept losing players. But then we got it together, and then we lost players again at the end of the season, and that was the thing that wrecked us. And the squad has been... You touched on it before about having players who are, and it's what we were saying yesterday, is that when you look at a squad of players, you've got to have the good ones, of course. You've got to have the ones who they're your first teamers and all of that. But you can't. I don't think in a squad you can have players who, when they go out, you lose the fundamentals of the football team.
Yeah,
you can obviously if you've got a goal scorer who's better than anyone at the club and you lose him, you are going to struggle to replace him because we're not a team in the Champions League. We're not a team winning league, so we can't have 3 or 4 on the bench and go, well, he'll just come in for him and all of that. But you should have someone who can come in and do a similar job to other players. And the big thing for us is the right back and there's Abdoulaye Doucouré. We haven't got adequate cover for either of them. In fact, to be honest, we haven't even got adequate cover for our left back. You've got people who can play there.
Yeah.
And you can patch it up. And I suppose you can patch up the right back situation, but you can't patch up someone who can get all over the pitch for you in midfield because we haven't done it. And we've missed opportunities over the last couple of seasons to get that. Like Anguissa, I mentioned him yesterday. Why didn't we get Anguissa? He was on loan at Napoli. He was on loan. He was sitting around twiddling his thumbs at Fulham until the deadline day. And yet Everton could have picked him up with the loan with a view to a permanent deal. And he could have played in a midfield. He could have played in the midfield 3 with Doucouré and Allen. But then when Doucouré went out, he could have been in there with Allen because he's mobile. He's good on the ball. It's just little decisions that the club have got to start getting right moving forward. You've got to start getting some characters into that squad who roll the sleeves up. Talk about West Ham. Really durable because of Moyes. Moyes has characters. We saw it. Excuse me, first hand under David Moyes. We saw it. We finished above teams who were probably better than us. We finished above them regularly because we were resilient and we had a spine that you talked about before, and Moyes had them well drilled, but they were all good characters. They went on the pitch and they looked after themselves and he got results. This squad of players, there's good footballers in Everton squad, but are the real characters? Well, we'd argue that 3 of the real characters aren't even playing at the moment. And that's his spine, Mina, Doucouré, Calvert-Lewin. You're getting people like Alex Iwobi coming, who's quite clearly a decent footballer, but he doesn't do anything. Where's the who's holding Alex Iwobi to account? Other players come in and go out. He comes, it's dipping in and dipping out, and it's like you've got to have people who you can rely on every week. And whether that's players you can rely on because they're fit most games, or you can rely on them because they roll the sleeves up when things are going against you. But there is, I think it's been said to us before, managers don't fail, football clubs fail. And if we don't back the manager and give him what he needs, then then he'll fail again and he'll go along. He'll just become the next.
Yeah, because
one.
People who want, so this is the fundamental of it, right? People who want Rafa Benitez sacked. What will that fundamentally change at Everton Football Club? It'll change nothing.
It
will change nothing.
Nothing.
The club what the club are trying to do is they're trying to buy time for Bramley Murdoch. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to buy time. If at some point you've just got to stick. And listen, they've probably picked the worst manager in terms of PR they could have for that. And I understand that. But at some point, this club has got to change how it does things, because if it doesn't, and maybe it's already started, maybe by bringing Rafa Benitez and only spending that money in the summer, it's already started. Well, then communicate that with us as fans. We're not kids. We're not thick. And by the way, if we ever walked away from this club would cease to exist. This club is not one of those clubs.
Not me and you. Fans ever walked away,
yeah. I mean, no, this club is not one of those clubs that can survive on overseas fans and money coming in from this place and that place. And to be fair, I don't think any football club could survive without its fans. It's just simply seen that with COVID.
Yeah.
If us fans just went, you know what, I am sick to death of this now. I've had enough of it. Because if you're going the match and you're not seeing just anything that's worth going the match for, I see posts and I get posts shared me going, the concourse at Wolves was amazing. Well then, there's make more noise, Ned. If your concourse is amazing, he doesn't just collapse, does he?
Mac on the floor.
As long as it's not our Mac. If you're having a great time at the match because the concourse is amazing, then I start to worry about the club as a whole. So, because going to the match should be fun, yeah, but it should be fun for what you see on the pitch and the pride you take in your team. And when you don't see that, and you don't see that there's something happening with the club that is preparing you to go somewhere, then that, because I look at some clubs and I think, they're just. I think I said to you last week. I'm sure I said to you last week on the Premier League show, Crystal Palace were going to batter someone. I know, they didn't batter Man City, but 2-0, beating them 2-0 was the equivalent.
That's a battering.
But that's what I'm saying. It felt like everything was coming together. It was just the results weren't just quite there. And you can tell sometimes when things are going on in the background, it's just not quite happening on the pitch. Well, at the moment with our football club, you're watching the football and you're like, it's boring for a start. I don't think anyone would sit there going, it's amazing football. But it can't be, because of two managers who've won Champions Leagues. Both have said,
I haven't got the players.
We can't play football with the players we've got. I'm watching Ben Godfrey struggle to play 5-yard passes. He's a £20 million footballer. It's facts. I'm watching Seamus Coleman start runs that way and then turns around and ends up running back that way and giving the ball away. The simple fact is there is nothing at our football club that suggests, apart from that stadium, that there's any light in the horizon. You look at the under-23s, I know, even though there's a couple of good, decent kids, and I know the other night they were apparently good at Hartlepool in the under-21s, but there's no one screaming, this fella. Not even like in a case, not talking about a Rooney situation, by the way. I'm talking like a Tom Davies situation. This kid can step into the first team and he can give us something a little bit.
Do you think Onyango can?
No, I know, but I haven't seen him play for the first team, and I look at him, I think, yeah, he's got all the right tools, but
is he ready?
I'm not 100% sure he's ready, and I don't think he's ready simply because they seem very like, he's going to have to play 5 games. It's bigger than that. What I mean is, it's just not that, like, you don't put it under 23 on the bench and think he's going to get a game tonight. Okay, Gordon's took 2 years to get from.
Now he's looking.
And now he's looking like just not getting it. That's 2 years of being with the first team. And I think that's the problem for a lot of people, is that that stadium is like, it's there, but it's still like there.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean it's going to solve all the problems.
No, it's not
You're
a magic
supposed to
wand,
go
is it?
into that stadium, and that's supposed to be like the tip of everything happening. Everything's going to come together. Does anyone feel like that at the moment? Because I don't. I don't feel like it's all going to come together as we go into the stadium. I couldn't think of... I just think that everyone at the moment... And listen, if we were to win a couple of games, you'd start having a different mindset. But really, I think even if we were to pick up and win games, those problems are still there. I really do.
We will pick up and win games because we'll get players back.
No, I know.
We'll win games, but you're right, the issues are still in the football club. I think sometimes you've got to get everything lined up, and there might be stuff going on behind the scenes under the thing that we haven't seen yet, right? But right now, it just looks like we are just biding time.
We are.
We're trying to keep our head above water. That's why we got Benitez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So if you're going to do that, then you've got to give him time, no matter what's happening. Because otherwise, you've abandoned your plan.
Again. See, I think Everton will give him time. It's what'll stop him getting time is the fans.
No, I agree.
But then
I can't
have a go at fans because
no,
what we're seeing is crap and
no
one communicates it.
Lynn Cook says, promote from within if a good job is being done. If going out there and getting good quality training, professional development, and now what the mistakes are that stop you progressing, not just for the sake of recycling the old crap. Gareth Hughes says, rather than Delph's performance on Monday making me warm to him, it did the opposite. Just shows the kind of job he could have done for us and how good a player he is, but just can't be arsed and just wants an easy £100,000 a week. More annoyed with him. Yeah.
I understand that.
No, I get that. I get that completely. I get that fully. Where are we doing?
Eve Orton says, I'd keep Rafa and raffle the players.
A meat raffle?
If that's what it is. Who knows?
Dan Parry, who sounds like the bad guy from Phoenix Knights, says, one of the most depressing times I've had as an Evertonian. I know we've had some lower the league footy before and gash managers, but what makes it worse is the money we've blew up the wall, and to watch two performances like that makes me sick. It's hard to get behind players now who don't give a rat's ass, and with the Rafa, even though he got it wrong. This all stems from the top, and I tell you what, Marcel has a lot to answer for. Bar Tom Davis, whose academy every one of our players is a brand sign, not to mention the rest. The man's let the club down. Academy isn't running well. Last good prospect we had was Barkley. I'm still venting and fuming. Max Stagnall says, don't comment much, watch, listen to all your content. I can imagine it's pretty hard to keep your motivation at times like these. Just so you know, you're doing a brilliant job. P.S. Really enjoyed Kane's opinion. Thank you, Max.
It's not motivation that you find hard. What it is
mental health.
It is the mental health side of it, because you consume it like everybody else. But we come in, we talk about it as well, but you don't ever switch off from it.
No.
Because we're doing it, but also, like everyone, and loads of Evertonians will be the same. It just goes on in your head. That's why a win is so important, because it lightens the load for that week, and we're all in the same boat. We're all going. 2 weeks ago, just before West Ham, everything was all right.
Yeah.
We were approaching a tough game that we knew we had, but we were like...
It's the manner of the performances, isn't it? But if you are looking for a little bit of light relief, Ned has just started a TikTok for us.
So, be dancing or singing.
Ned, what's the details?
Oh, it's Toffee TV.
Have you got your mic on? He's doing a sound degree, and I'm having to tell him.
The link is in the comment. It's Toffee TV 1878 is the handle.
There you go.
But if you go on TikTok and just type Toffee TV,
give it a little follow. It'll have news and stuff on it.
I'm too old.
No, we're not going to be...
No, I'm too old to do TikTok, right? Baz has done dancing on TikTok.
I haven't. Once.
It's acceptable. He's a dancing dad.
Yeah.
Right. Ned's going to look after it. So if the content is... Well, just tell us what you think about the content. And whips will be cracked.
It's only gonna be like new stuff and things like that. It's sound and little videos, so just give it a. You may.
Oh, by the way, if you're watching it and you spot one lizard, get immediately in touch.
Make sure any lizard, let us know immediately.
Immediately, like literally get in touch with us and go, just seen a lizard on your TikTok. I want to know immediately. It's a lizard-free zone, except for actually Ned.
Wormy Spoon says 7 managers haven't sorted some of these players out. Why is 8 or 9 going to make any difference? Rafa is the best man for the job. Don King says Rafa is 100% the right man. I'd give him 2 seasons minimum. Tom Gibbons says thoughts on that we have history and City have none. In my opinion, it's stupid as we can't win trophies in the past.
City have got loads of history.
We can win things now. So even though we've won stuff in the past, I think, Tom, you can finish your point. All I'll say is that people will always use history because Everton, it's a way of validating that Everton have been a big club in the past. Everton have still won the league, the 4th most out of the whole of English football. So that's something that people will cling on to. But you're right. Realistically, what difference does it make? Makes no difference. Chelsea, it's about now. We all want to watch Everton be successful now, don't we?
Chelsea people talk about Chelsea's history. Well, surely history goes back 25 years ago when they started winning trophies.
Chelsea won loads now. So when people go, they've got no history.
Yeah, for 25 years they've been winning trophies, and they've been winning 2 European Cups, and they've won leagues, and they've won every trophy.
They've won more European Cups in the last 8 or 9 years than they have.
Well, they've won every... No, but they've
won...
what
I'm saying.
Yeah. But over the last 25 years, they've won every single competition available to them. They've won Europa League, Rafa Benitez. They've won 2 Champions Leagues. They've won leagues. And the only one they haven't won is the World Club Championships, isn't it? I think. And they've got a chance to do that this year. I think that's the only one they didn't win. I think they failed to win that, because I think that was when Benitez got the sack, didn't he? For basically not winning it. For not winning it. I think. Was he?
Which one?
Oh no, he got. Sorry. He came in. Sorry,
he went out and Di Matteo got sacked
because he went in that summer.
And then he won the Europa League.
They didn't win. Yeah, so that's the only one they haven't won. So they've got loads of history. City were winning trophies like we were. Didn't win as many as us, clearly. But they did win. They are a big club, and that this like, you know what this is? Like, this is an actual thing. This is a if you ever watch, you know what you have to watch?
Hit the like button if
you only have to watch
as well. Hey, you're there, thank you.
You don't even have to watch. This thing's been going on for years. No, Titanic, the film, and they're like talking about someone, Molly Brown, Unsinkable Molly Brown.
Yeah,
right. And how would you not know this?
Go on.
And Rose's mum is talking to her about it, and she just looks at her and goes, "She's new money."
Yeah, new money.
And it's that idea of like anyone who gets new money is like,
it's not as good.
It's not as good. It's like anything. This has been a thing that's gone on for years. In like, it's a class thing. It's a class system essentially. It's that idea. It's that idea. No. Well, yeah, you can do, but it's that idea of like us going, well, yeah, but we've always done that, and you're like, but you haven't won that for 27 years. It's like, yeah, but we were one of the first teams in the football. We were one of the football league teams. We had relegation and all this. It's like it's like you just said, it's validation for yourself. But all you're doing is you're accepting failure by going over old stuff.
I think you do. No, but I think you should hold those standards up though, because you should. We should be holding.
But you're not though. But we're not. No, we're not. We talked about this yesterday in the Tuesday topic. Standards versus, expectations. The simple fact is that you can go, we're a massive club. But you can say that with hand on heart if you've won something in the last 5 years. Can you imagine the 60s and 70s? Huddersfield would have been like, we're a massive club. Because
we've won stuff.
We won all these leagues.
Time stretches it, doesn't it?
But the longer things go on, and the more other clubs that you only have to look at the way things are framed now. I go on like 88 Sports, and people go, "Have you got an Evertonian?"
No, I know.
And I go, "Well, is my opinion not as valid as these other people's opinions?" Number one, I've been watching football longer than them.
No, I know.
And
listen,
I'm saying no, but it's that thing of like, you're an Everton fan. Why have you got an opinion? Yeah. Or I might say, Spurs, they think they're a massive club and they're not, and they go to you. And Everton fans saying Spurs are not a massive club. And I go, yeah, but I'm not saying we're a massive club. I'm just saying they're not a massive club. And it's that thing of
that to me, though, I would say, yeah, but we're miles bigger.
No, I know you would. But the point being
but
is...
neither of us are big clubs.
No, but
so,
if Conte had the choice... If
club.
Conte had the choice yesterday between us and them, he still would have picked them.
Spurs,
of course he would have. The
well,
point being is that there is actually too much that has held us back of this idea that if you're what makes it worse is Machiri said it when he came in at the first AGM. He said when Kenwright was waffling on about some shite, and he just went, I don't want this club to be a museum. I want it to be winning trophies. I mean,
he hasn't backed it
No,
up.
I know, but that was the point, though. The point was that's when everyone went, we've actually got a fella who wants to do something. He's not going on about the boys' pen and Dave Vixen.
But then, yeah, he's allowed that.
No, I know he has. No. I'm saying that's what I'm saying.
Kevin said, no, I agree. Kevin Kraft says, trouble is Rafa has got a massive job on here with some of the players in our squad. Derek Polahonki says, Rafa's recruiting was fantastic on no budget. Imagine what he could do with some money. Be patient. Mitch says a major overhaul is needed and Brands needs to step up to the plate. Don King says Brands needs to go. Peter Collins says, blame the hierarchy, not the manager. The club is run like a petrol car filled with diesel. Mitchell says, can't legislate for 3 first-teamers being injured. John Riley says, boys, can you explain to me why Brands is on the board? He should be answerable and accountable to the board, not on it. What's your take on this? We were at an AGM a couple of years ago, and I think it was Professor Tom Cannon who stood up. Yeah. And he was very vocal.
Oh, yeah,
he was not happy whatsoever that Marcel Brands was being put on the board. He wasn't happy with the director of football. He said it's been an unmitigated disaster since it was appointed. He wasn't just talking about Marcel Brands at that stage. He was talking about Steve Walsh as well. And he was really... And Brands was looking at him, so fair play to him. He didn't back down, did he? He was in his eyes, wasn't he? They were looking at each other. He was not happy with what had gone on, right?
Yeah.
But other people would say, well, he's the director of football, and other directors are on the board, like the commercial director, the finance director, the CEO.
No, he was very brave, and we were sitting in that room.
It was a little bit
cringing.
uncomfortable.
I always get uncomfortable.
But
I get embarrassed for other people, so I was very uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable, but
I get what's it called, secondary embarrassment or something. I always get massive cases of
but
that.
he was.
He stood up to his face and he said you shouldn't be on the board. And you know what?
What do you think of it?
Well, in hindsight, listen again. I'm not privy to, I'm not privy to it. I mean, put it this way, I wouldn't let Ned on the board of Toffee TV because I like to be able to point at him.
Tell him off, yeah.
Actually own the board.
I suppose. Listen, Machiri had the chance to get rid of him in the summer, and he didn't. Ultimately, he's on the board, but he is accountable to Machiri. But Machiri doesn't run the club on a day-to-day, but he's still the owner who owns the club. So he is accountable. I don't know. I don't know what they do on the board. I don't know what ideas they come up with. I think boards are businesses who have boards are weird because when you've only got to me, a board is where ideas gravitate to, but where I think personally, without ever being on a proper, sitting on a board, where our ideas should come from as well. And I find, so I suppose it's really difficult because those people should sit around and they should discuss ideas and they should have, their agenda and they should bring ideas to the table that have come from, whatever head of department they're at. And essentially a board meeting is when people have a monthly discussion about what they've done and what they're going to do. I would imagine also with a board, if they felt Brands did anything wrong, they could vote him off between them. So it's sort of something and nothing, really, isn't it? I'd imagine. When Machiri can basically just sack him if he wants to. But then would a football manager ever be on a board?
No, because he's got to be accountable to that board.
So
He's managing the football club, but he's got to be accountable.
yeah,
It's
very
difficult because I
still don't have a clue what Brands does.
No, and I don't know how could the recruitment team seriously sit there and go, we're doing a good job? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think whether people like it or not, Benitez is someone who won't accept them to underperform. He won't accept it. He'll start moaning about it, or he'll go to the owner and say, this fella's got to go. So maybe we'll see something as it goes forward. Maybe Brands will be held more accountable now that Benitez is here. I don't know, and I don't know whether that's right or it's wrong. I think an idea of a director of football seems to make sense if it's done properly. If you get the right one.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
it does. It does.
But-
And if the fella's allowed to do the job he wants to do, I think that's the other thing with Brands. It's like, one day we'll find out the truth, what's going on. We mightn't, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
Is he, when is he, how many times has he been ignored? How many
Or
times has he
overruled,
been listened
whatever.
to? How many times has he truly been in to sit there and do his own job?
Yeah.
When has he said to Mashiri, I want this, and then Mashiri's gone and got a phone call off one of his mates who just happened to be
Gone somewhere else.
mega agents, and then something else happens. What if he said last summer, bringing in Hammers would be a terrible idea, or bringing in this player would be a terrible idea, or whatever. Problem is, we don't know.
No.
But he still is the director of football, so he's accountable for it all. And if they're not listening to him, then he shouldn't be the director of football. They shouldn't have renewed his contract, if that was the case. Or he should have walked out. So...
Yeah, see, I'd have had to walk out.
Thank you, Ned.
I'd have had to walk out if it was me, to be honest. Because if I wasn't allowed to do the job what I was getting judged on, and the job that I was supposed to do, then what's the point in staying just for money? When I think, bless you, when I think personally he would have got a job anywhere else. Other clubs would have took him.
Hang on. Dean Hennessy said, hi lads, first time on Patreon. Hi Dean.
He's right, Dean.
AJ No says, I agree with you, Ped. Avoid Queen's Drive. 5 ways, it's horrendous. It is horrendous.
Still?
Oh, it'll be horrendous tonight with them playing.
Oh, God.
There's a crash on the 62 as well before.
Reroute on the way home then.
Dean Os. Oh, not so Purple Aki. See that video of Purple Aki? See it?
Weird, wasn't it?
Standing on the corner. Jeez, just looking for Ned's calves, he was.
It was a bit weird.
Looking for Ned's calves.
Not hard to miss, like.
Do you still think 52,888 isn't enough for Bramley Moore at present? That would be the 6th highest in the Premier League, but there's planning in place for 4 of the 7 below to increase their capacity. Is it just fair the lack of ambition from Everton, or pragmatic approach to creating demand in a future full stadium? Man United 74140 planning upgrade. Spurs 62303. Arsenal 60704. West Ham 60 planning upgrade. Liverpool 5334 with a planning upgrade. Everton 52. Newcastle 52. 2 ways of looking at it. I'm all right. Okay. What do you think I'm going to do with it?
Well, you know.
2 ways to looking at it. You can't judge your fan base on what other people get through the door. That's one way to look at it. But it would just be nice if Everton just had a nice clean 60,000, wouldn't it?
It'd be lovely, but I still think 55 is a good place to start. I think 55 puts us comfortably in a range where not only can we fill it, but we create demand as well. 60 would be lovely, of course it would, but they're not going to do it. There's plans for it. It can go to 62,000. I'll be amazed if it ever.
But
does.
it can only go to 62,000 with standing and all the things have to be right. Yeah. But the simple fact is, and this is something you have to take in account, the footprint of the land only allows a certain size, and then you have to have a certain kind of stadium then, and the remit for the stadium was supposed to be a certain stadium, and it wasn't supposed to be like a Meccano stadium where you probably could just go beep, 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 beep. So we probably could have a 55 to 60,000 like that if we'd gone to Croxteth.
Built.
So who wanted to go to Croxteth? Nobody.
If it was the Stone Cross site, we'd have been playing in it.
I think 55 is where you go. See, this is the thing with City when people go, I think I've said this on one of the 888s. Might be this week's. I think it is this week's actually. City get criticised for not filling the ground, right? But if their ground was smaller and they sold out, no one would say anything.
No.
So it's because if that might make sense, but if they
does.
So if they had a 50,000 seater stadium, they filled it out every week. No one would ever say none. But they just happen to have a bigger stadium, and that's it. So it's that thing of like if Everton went to 60 and then couldn't fill it, everyone go, you can't fill your ground. We had a 55, we filled it every week. We'd be like, we sell out every week. That in PR is the difference.
No, but that's what I'm saying to you. Somewhere Everton have took surveys and all that, and someone's come up with 52,888 and gone, this will be this will create demand. That's about right for what you've got. But the thing is, Everton have got 20,000 on the waiting list, and we've already got 32,000 season ticket holders.
But at some point they'll say they're increasing it because of demand, and that's good PR.
Oh, it's great. If Everton say they're increasing it to 55,000, to me, that's good enough.
You'll find extra seats.
I'm saying that's good enough.
But don't forget,
because you will still then create a need for more.
Don't forget, in America, they purposely underbuild stadiums. They do it on purpose because if you can have demand, you can increase the prices. It's as simple as that. It's what Americans. It's why like NBA, they're like 20,000 because then the seats at the back aren't going for like $18. They're going for like proper, full-on, mad numbers. Same as like the concerts. If you look at say Coldplay, the moment Coldplay's concert tickets are out, right? World tour and all that. You looked at they're playing 5 nights at Wembley Stadium.
Nice.
Right? Bet you the cheapest ticket's 75 quid. Right?
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. Bet you. No, I'm just saying. I bet you it is.
It probably will be though.
Stade de France. Know what the cheapest ticket is? I think it's €30. Because you've got an hour between the two cities on a train or whatever, 3 hours, an hour on the plane. But because of clearly, one's in Wembley, we build it up. We have all the hype, Coldplay, but everyone loves them. France, maybe not so much. There's not the demand. It's a big stadium. You're playing, and there you go. And that's the difference.
55,000 is good enough for me. I think that's good. John Novell says, geez, I'm actually awake for a live at 5. The last couple of games proved just how important Abdoulaye Doucouré is. We need a guy similar to him in midfield. We definitely do.
Dan Osborne says Potter's build-up play is slow and frustrating to watch at times. When it's not fully working, we would have hated this style. There you go.
And that's the other thing, isn't it? It's what your fan base wants.
Sol says, lads, both of you have interviewed some prestigious individuals. My question is to you, which person was the most intimidating you were nervous for? And if you could pick any person, doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be footy related to interview, who would it be, dead or alive?
Who was the most
intimidating? Nev's always intimidating. Because he's so, you don't know how to take him, and he can be very playful, and he can be, and then he'll say mad things, and you can't. Different when he was in here, but I've interviewed him outside, and it's when you're interviewing him, you're not having a debate with him, you're interviewing him. I've had to bite my tongue when I've interviewed him because he does say some mad things. Like give Koeman the 500 million instead of the stadium.
Rather than the stadium. I don't know. I mean, the thing about it is interviewing people. Yeah, I think it's just before you start. I think it's intimidating. If you
whether they want to be interviewed.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like if you. I think certainly everyone I've interviewed so far has been. I'll tell you which was. I enjoyed it, but I was a little bit funny with Kanchelskis.
No, yeah.
Just because of the language, and B, he was a little bit thingy.
He warmed up.
But you're thinking like, how's it gonna be? Because is he gonna be able to give us the more than the one-liners and all that, the short answers? And he was great as we went on. He was great, and I think, to be honest, everyone's been all right who we've done because. they've done it, haven't they?
Because they want to do it.
They want to
They've
do
agreed
it.
to
They're
it.
all right to doing it. So
They've agreed
I
to
think,
it.
I don't know, when you're speaking to people, I don't know. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough to think, what are these going to be like? I think if you doorstep someone, it might be a different thing. But most of the people who we've interviewed, and who come in here especially, have always been really good because they've been open to it.
Pathfinder, I wouldn't even let me interview him.
Well, he does say shy,
And it was an
isn't
event for him.
it? No, nobody's shy, isn't it?
The person I'd most like to interview, well, the person I wanted the most to interview was Duncan, and we interviewed him. Dead or alive. Ooh. I suppose Brian LeBone, someone like, I've met Brian LeBone, and you know, what lovely, lovely fella. Someone like that, someone who, for Everton certainly, someone like Brian LeBone.
I'd said Howard Kendall, but in here.
Yeah, well,
I'd have loved to have sat with Howard Kendall in here and just had a proper conversation.
I'll be honest, I've interviewed him and he was massively disappointing. Massively disappointing. But I think he thought he was going to get stitched up. He was massively disappointed. Yeah. Because there was things I wanted to ask him and I knew I couldn't. Certainly over like Gary's beard and stuff. But I knew I couldn't ask him because I didn't have that. I didn't have that relationship with him to ask him.
I think when we interviewed Duncan, it helped that we'd seen him so many different places and we spoke to him and all. So it was a different thing. When we spoke to him at Finch Farm, it was a bit...
Yeah, the difference between interviewing someone that you know or you've got some kind of relationship with, and because they're relaxed, they're not... Dunk didn't come in, he was like, well, what are you going to ask him? We sat here for ages before. We'd been speaking to him 2 days before as well, at an event. I'd interviewed him before at stuff. We spoke to him. We spoke to him when we went to Switzerland. We spoke to him a few days later at Wigan. Yeah. We spoke to him on a human level. So when it comes to interviewing him, it was a piece of piss. And that's half the problem. It's like if you don't know somebody, you ask them a question, they're like.
I'll tell you what one I was nervous about, and it was just because it was really at the very start, and it wasn't an interview. It was just a couple of questions. It was Martinez at Finch Farm, because in that setting, you're in with everybody else, and you're thinking. No one to say my question because basically Martinez sat down, we were all in the circle, there was all the fan sites and stuff, you know, websites and everything, and we were all there, and you're waiting for your turn, and it is a bit like, you're a bit like, no one asked my question because if it comes to me, mine, and then it's how they're going to perceive it, but it was only for the very first question. And he was brilliant, so once he answered
that was the second one, wasn't it? I went to the first one.
You went to the first
one. So I was already there because Bezzy mate.
Yeah. So what was your question?
Asked him a few. I can't remember now, but it was just in your head. You think
to be fair,
like,
though,
but he was really
they weren't
good.
as good as someone else's because you weren't quite on the same level.
I wasn't on the same
You didn't
level.
Understand the football.
But he was the only one that understood.
He was the only one, and that's
he's the only one in Goodison. Remember, the only one in Goodison who could see what Martinez was trying to do on the pitch. Nobody else could see it. 40,000 couldn't see it, but he could.
Dixie Dean would be a great interview.
He'd be good.
Just about loads of things like
he'd be really
Hitler
good,
and stuff like that. What are you laughing at?
Enough. Paul McDonough says I used to play on Jericho Lane. Footy pitches had heroin syringes on. And I was literally there on Sunday because my lad plays in the league there. It's boss now.
Yeah,
the facilities.
I
used to play. We've played on Jericho Lane. I never seen a syringe.
I never seen a syringe. I've seen other things. And don't forget when you go on Jericho pitches, particularly one on the left. You can slope down.
The Ottersfield,
it slopes down and it goes into the prom. And that's a notorious area for.
I was seeing lots of underwear there.
Gear taken and
all sorts.
And it was an area where
still is
frustrated gentlemen, with families used to have recreational interests with other gentlemen.
Now it's just a dogging site down there.
Is it?
Apparently.
And also they used to do what was it called? That TV show. What was it called? What was it called?
Oh, Why Don't You?
Why Don't You? Yeah. The outside.
Not on fellas. With
Why Don't You?
Why don't you?
I mean, that would have been a very different
Why
show.
Don't You After Dark? That would have had to be.
What's this place called?
Yeah. Lila says Everton being Everton with its history of looking bad DNA. We will get relegated the season before we move into the new stadium. I just know it. No, Lila, no. Keep the faith. Come on. Keep the faith. Let's hope we don't anyway. Mitchell says, played Jericho loads, never seen anything bad. Good.
Apart from some dodgy tackles.
Josh Foy says Diaz has just scored for Porto. Yeah,
Good.
that ship's probably well sailed now, to be fair.
Good.
Patrick says, what was the experience like being at the overlap, Baz? Yeah, it's sound. Fine.
Yeah, cool.
Fine. We've both done lots of stuff like that. It's all right.
Spent the day at Sky Sports News.
Yeah, that was better.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, it was until
No, it wasn't.
Big Sam wasn't happy with us. But yeah,
Amazing.
no, but it's fine. Listen, it's fine. We're generally at these things with lads we know as well from other channels, so it's always all right. Steve P says, what are some of your favourite strikers who don't get talked about as much? Roy Mackay, Dina Tarley, Luca Toni would be
What
someone.
a player.
Roy Mackay was
I
brilliant.
think Lewandowski doesn't get talked about enough. He scored the hat-trick last night.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
He's got like 86 Champions League goals in 100 games.
Yeah,
Lewandowski's should have won a
amazing.
Ballon
But if
d'Or.
you're talking about like strikers from years ago,
Roy Mackay was amazing.
Roy Mackay, Bayern Munich and Deportivo.
Scottish sound and Dutchman.
He was boss. He probably does get talked about, but I love Gabriel Batistuta.
No, there's definitely there was definitely an era of strikers.
Christian Vieri.
There's definitely an area of strikers who don't get to. Vieri was absolutely incredible. At one point, he was the richest, most expensive player in the world.
Left foot was super.
And he had an Australian accent.
I was
He
gonna
was
say,
Australian.
you heard him
Croatian.
talk.
He was
Australian,
Croatian, Australian.
Italian.
And he played for Italy. And he used to... I remember watching an interview with him, and he was talking about Ronaldo, because Ronaldo was a strike partner in Italy. He was like, yeah, he's a great kid, you know. He's a great kid. I was like, what? Where did that... What? And the longer he stayed in Italy, the more he got an Italian accent, but he was full Australian. I was like, how mad's that? Oh, he was amazing.
Becky Signori.
Oh, Signori, one step
footballer.
ends. One step. That was just an era of... Obviously, there was an era of when like Italian football was on Channel 4. And it was before Sky were dominating. So you'd have like the 4... Like, I literally think the 4 o'clock kickoff was because Channel 4 had the 2 o'clock kickoff. And I think that's why.
They put it on after it, yeah.
It was unbelievable. And
Loved it.
Batistuta was amazing. And then you got Totti. And then Batistuta moved to Roma and they won the league with Totti. And it was just the whole thing. It's Signori.
There was Aspria for Parma with Thomas Brolin. Just great football.
It was unbelievable.
Ravanelli, obviously. Yeah. And then he come over here. There was an era where, like going back a bit earlier, like Marco
proper
van
strikers,
Basten, but they were proper centre forwards, and they all seemed to be in Italy, didn't they?
Yeah,
they were all
Del
Italy,
Piero
Serie A,
and
Del Piero. Oh my God.
Del Piero, and you had Baggio, and
Roberto
you had all these amazing players. Then you had Shevchenko at Milan. Would you? Oh, prick.
Pavel Nedved. Pavel Nedved.
He was probably the best signing they ever made.
He was a fantastic player, Pavel Nedved.
But of course, they bought all the leagues.
But they had players like Rui, like Milan, like Rui Costa and that. He was brilliant, just brilliant football.
Instead of having like players like Recoba, who could do amazing
Alvaro
things, but never did them.
Alvaro Recoba and Ivan Zamorano, remember him?
Zamorano, who had on the back of his shirt 1+8 because he couldn't have the number 9.
The number 9, yeah.
Don't get that kind of thing anymore.
And obviously you had R9.
Yeah, the greatest Ronaldo.
R9, he was just there.
Greatest Ronaldo.
There was just, there was just fantastic set of players for years. And all the Dutch players like Seedorf and Davids and all of them.
Dominic Hughes says, lads signed to Payton today. It feels good to be part of the elite. His words. Just wanted to say, keep up the good work. Thank you.
Nice one.
Tim says, silly calling for Rafa. Surely it's Brands if anyone has to be fired. Surely Machedi is staying away from the transfers. Haha. The club is a mess, but I trust Rafa to fix it all. Stop calling me Shirley. Chris says, with tough fixtures coming up, last season we had a run of tough games in December, but we came out of it the other end really well. Liverpool are flying, but it's just there's still a chance of a shithouse 1-0. Dean says, watching the City Amazon documentary, their plan was to have 3 players in every position, and that would be challenging for it, and they would be challenging for it. Whereas we have 1 right back and 1 left back. Why send out a backup left back on loan? Robbie says, do you think Everton protests should be considered to let them know that the club hierarchy are taking the club nowhere? No, well, Everton protests generally mean people just stop going to the game. That's normally people vote with their feet.
Seen loads of people selling tickets on Sunday.
People generally vote.
People are just starting to go.
Yeah, people generally vote with their feet.
And I think, you know what? I think after COVID, I think for a lot of people, it's easier to just go, forget it, because we weren't going.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to miss it, and I'd never consider doing it, but a lot of people go, you know what, can't be asked. It's going to be grim anyway, or whatever, and they're just not motivated by
people
it.
just say, what's the point? Especially like November, notorious. Like if people in November, if they get like overtime offered to them, how can you turn it down at Christmas?
Steve Teitelbaum, what a name, or Teitelbaum. Sorry if I've mullered that. Steve says, thoughts on Conte. I think it's a brilliant signing for Tottenham. I think if they give him what he wants, he could be brilliant. There's the other chance it goes the other way and it's a car crash and he doesn't get what he wants and he storms off because that's what he's like. But I think on the face of it, I think it's a really good move for Tottenham.
Keith Powell says, communication has always been extremely poor between club and fans. They really need to get their head around it now. Support Benitez brands and improve communication by telling us what they're trying to do. Yeah, said it before, said it for ages. Not having someone like Alan Myers at the club is just a massive mistake.
Right, there's a few strikers I have got to address here because they've been...
Let me just do this. Robert Lloyd, good to hear about your point of views, lads, on the debacle that Everton at the moment. Honestly, was ashamed of the players' first half against Wolves, but totally agree. What does Brands actually do? He's an absolute joke. I am honestly terrified of how bad the position we could be in Christmas, looking at our fixtures and our injury list. I agree.
But the other side could be we get players back and we pick points up. Steve P says, do you remember Diego Tristan? Remember him for Deportivo?
Yeah.
In the early 2000s, a bit overweight, but was a beast and scored major goals. Graham Hines says Adriano. Adriano was definitely a PES player. Yeah. You'd get him because he was lightning with that left foot. He was brilliant. Rivaldo was incredible.
Rivaldo was good.
Rivaldo was incredible footballer.
Deportivo La Coruña, of course.
It was Thingy. It was James Richardson was the presenter at Channel 4. Scorio. He's on there, BT Sport now, isn't he?
Barcelona are set to complete the agreement with Xavi.
Okay. Gianfranco Zola, Stoichkov, Hadji, underrated great, says Blue Rumba. They were brilliant.
Remember the dream team at Barcelona? When they had Stoichkov and they had Thingo up front as well. Romario.
Oh, Romario. Bebito. But Romario, what a player.
Plays for Rangers,
yeah. Keith says Unsworth, Brands, Kenwright plus 10 players have to go.
You should all go and just leave us to run it.
Gavin says, would you like to replace Rafa if he goes?
No one, not even thinking about it.
I just don't think there's anyone who could do a better job right now, mate. It's the truth. So I don't know. I don't think he's going to go anyway. But I'd like someone like Graham Potter, but I don't know whether he'd ever get the time. We certainly don't have the players to play the way he likes to play. So I would think it'd probably just be a nightmare. If Benitez was to walk out and go to Newcastle next week because he's had enough, whatever, it'd be very worrying from a football club point of view because he'd know more than we do. And then the alarm bells would ring massively for me. And what Everton would do is probably just give it to Dunk while he sat on their hands and went through, who should we get now? I think it'd be a nightmare, really do. Diego Tristan's been mentioned again. Davor Suker, what a player.
His lob of Schmeichel was amazing in 96.
96. Went to Arsenal, was all right as well. He wasn't as good. He should have come a couple of years earlier.
But this is when all the best players didn't. This is when all the best players didn't come here, though, wasn't it? These are all players who went to Italy because Italy was, at the time, the place where people went.
Dennis, I think everyone is feeling a bit low at the moment, mate, at the club, to be honest, because the mood, isn't it?
Ooh, It's Always Sunny is back on the 1st of December. I
thought it finished.
No, it only finished for because of
COVID.
Because of COVID. Oh, back on the 1st.
Interesting.
Can't wait.
Interesting.
Wonder how many recs and references there'll be in it.
Loads. Paul Cape Melbourne says manager's not the problem. We all know that. Exactly. It's everything around.
But he's the easy
target for some people.
And the people who are the problem, like the Tories did today, can basically rewrite the rules and get rid of the thing that's not the problem while they stay on.
I don't know whether they will get rid of him now because...
Yeah. No, I'm not saying he will. Jake Abbott, that's probably the most important question of the day.
Go on.
But I think, there has to be caveats to this. Jake Abbott says, red or brown sauce, lads.
Depends what it's on.
That's what I'm saying. But always, if it's on like bacon and sausage, it's brown.
Always
It
brown.
has to be brown.
Always.
There's no. To be honest, I don't have tomato sauce really on anything. Maybe occasionally on chips.
Yeah,
but
occasionally. Mine's occasionally. It's brown sauce is always the go-to.
always to go. I mean,
You
because
can
of
have it
course,
with-
like
it's the spiciness
see,
of it, isn't it?
when you got a body like a temple like me, you try and keep away from the sugars, from that kind of thing.
So.
You get your sugars from actual things that are supposed to have
Yeah.
sugars. It's like
Steve Bryan says, leave the manager alone, let him do his job. It's the players that need the rockets up them, not Benitez. Correct, Steve. Stephen Whitehead said Everton fans are the most impatient in the league. Potter wouldn't get given the time. I agree with that as well, mate.
I agree.
Chris Benoit, ex-wrestler,
I mean, ex being alive.
says injuries and lack of depth is the problem.
Yeah.
And he's right. You're absolutely right. Kev's gone for brown sauce.
That's a very unique name, that Chris Benoit. That's his real name.
Well, maybe he's just maybe he liked Chris Benoit as
He
well.
murdered his family.
Maybe liked them
You're not
before
allowed
he
to
went
Hang on.
dark.
Oh yeah, I used to really like Myra Hindley.
But mate, what if this is the gentleman's name though?
No, that's what I said in the first place. I said
there
it's a
you
very
go.
unique name.
There you
I
go.
said I'm really interested. You're
Christopher-
the one who said he really liked wrestling.
Okay. Does HP count as brown sauce?
Yeah,
It is
if it's
HP
brown, yeah.
sauce, House of Parliament. Christopher Hammond says, "Hi lads, a fan from the beginning of Toffee TV. Thank you very much, Chris." Says, thanks for keeping fans around the world connected to the club and the cathartic rants and reactions. Nice one, Christopher. Much appreciated, mate. HP or Daddy's, which is the best? HP.
Oh, always HP. Daddy's was like the.
It's all right, but it's Mo says if Benitez gets sacked, it'd be ridiculous. Benitez is a proven world-class manager. The players on the other hand are not. Yeah. Kevin says, go on a juicer for a month, Ped. You lose 5 stone lid.
Yeah, but you'd have to eat juice.
Juice for a month.
I'm going to the gym. Got a
Dan-
personal trainer. Me mate Harry, true story.
Daniel O'Connor says red and brown sauce is a game changer with bacon butties.
Together.
Never looked
Is that
back
like in
since.
Step
He's like
Brothers?
fused them
It's like,
together.
is that like special sauce?
Well, sounds like it. JS says, you were spot on with your comment the other day, Baz, like watching the same season over and over again. How much more tired can we get? And that's not good though, is it, mate? Because you should be able to, when you've had money that Everton have got, and you've got some of those, the quality of those players that Everton have got, you should be able to get a team capable of at least challenging to get in Europe and having decent seasons after season. You should be. And there's reason, you know, and it's just annoying because it does just feel like you start getting to the stage where you're going, I can't wait for May. Earlier and earlier every year. It's nonsense.
No. And then you think to yourself, why do we bother?
It is though,
It
isn't it?
becomes just more like of a...
I think fans though, in general, you don't ever want people, supporters of your football club, to start sitting there thinking, why do we bother?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Because football already feels almost pointless because it's difficult to win the league. It's almost impossible for us to win the league. It can happen if you can build, but we don't build. So therefore it's impossible.
But you need to have a direction to build in.
So, quote of the day, I used to really like Myra Hindley, says John Lavelle. Where are we here? Great show, lads, says Keith. Daniel Cameron says, what do you think about the youth setup? I think it can be massively better than what it is, Daniel. And that's me being, being PC about it. Lieutenant Colonel Kojak Slaphead III says Gianfranco Zola was underrated in my opinion, lightning fast. He's a fabulous footballer. Absolutely
Kazaragi.
fabulous footballer.
Did he on his knee?
Yeah. Alex Goulden says, sorry, a bit late question for you. What would have happened if we'd have got Graham Potter? Who knows?
Probably be calling for him to leave now.
People will probably be calling for his head, saying he wasn't qualified. How can you manage Brighton and then Everton? And
Daniel O'Connor says, do you think we should go for Lewis Campos before another team takes him, then show Brands the door?
he's already gone. Lewis
he?
Campos gone to thingy with.
Nice?
He's at Nice with
Is he, yeah?
the other fella.
Okay.
I think he went there first and took Galtier with him. I think. But
Gary
Campos is really good. I think we should get Rangnick and show Brands the door.
Gary Ward said
Maybe.
Brandy Moore Dock isn't going to magically transform us into a contender. It'll give us new revenue stream, but it can't kick a ball. We need to be setting up a foundation on the field now to get it ready. Yeah. Jake Abbott says, should we have got Moyes back years ago? Yeah, we should have appointed him before we appointed Carlo Ancelotti.
We should have appointed him before Carlo Ancelotti, but the minute, obviously, Carlo Ancelotti was an option side by side, you can understand every time why people would choose Carlo. It absolutely no-brainer, but there was a time before it become available that we should have got him. Not saying we'd be amazing, but we'd be in a much better place than we are now.
Keith Powell says, what has happened to Holgate and Godfrey? Scary. Well, Godfrey is suffering, I think, obviously from the COVID situation and now lack of confidence. And also, I think
just not being informed.
Issues in the team with it are not bringing the best out of him. Tom Riddle says, all right, lads, heard that we're open to selling Allen in January. Thoughts on this? I mean, are we open? I don't think so.
I've not heard that, but who knows? I think everyone's available to be sold by us, mate, because Jenny says we bother because it's Everton. One day we will get it right, and I want to be right in the mix.
I get that. No, I get that.
No, that's right.
I'm just saying,
that's
it's
absolutely
just,
right.
Some people will just stop bothering. Adam says, for me, if you set your standards and go balls out to achieve them, then expectations should be met at any time. The two should go hand in hand.
Stephen Whitehead makes a brilliant point. Says the reason why the atmosphere at Goodison is dead is because we're just watching every season on rewind. There's nothing for the fans to get behind.
Yeah, rewatching it.
Yeah, you just watch it, and that's how it feels. And so each year, how can you still get that enthusiasm? Because you look and go, there's nothing to dream, is there?
They've got us on the hook. The simple fact is they've got us on the hook for the stadium. They keep on talking about the waiting list. Anyone knows now if they give the season ticket up, then they've got no chance of getting one for Bramley Moore. And there is that. It's the hope that keeps every football fan coming back. Because if someone said to you, "There's no hope," you wouldn't go. Because what would you be going for? It is that thing. It's like, you go to see a film or something. You don't want someone to tell you the plot beforehand. You wouldn't go.
No.
You go because you want to be entertained.
Jay says, doesn't matter at this point who the manager is, the same villains are still pulling the blue shirt on. And Patrick Farrell says, remember the AC Milan team of around 1990, Van Basten, Gullit, Rijkaard, Baresi, etc. Unbelievable. Make sure you hit the like button. Being a great crowd tonight.
Maldini, Costa Curta, Albertini. Nesta came a little bit later,
but I'm just thinking of like...
Even Tingo up front, Daniel, what's his name? Daniel Favre, was it? He scored in the 4-0 win. He was basically like their first sub. What was his name? He scored in the 4-0 win to win the European Cup.
Champions League thing, yeah.
Oh, I can't remember what his name is. I'll look now. Johnny Hodgson, Alex P says, just confirmed all my bookings in 1 month. I'll be attending my first match at Goodison and my first derby. Flying in from Washington State. Any suggestions for places to grab some pints before and after the game? Cheers. Thanks for all. Probably the Winslow.
The Winslow, because it's
right next to the ground.
Right next to the stadium, mate. Yeah. That's the best place.
Johnny Hodgson says, all the Rafa House shouts need to be binned. Sounds mad, but another quick fire manager change and I think I'm going to lose interest. More for self-preservation. Can't keep putting managers in place for a season and getting rid the minute it isn't perfect. We're still suffering from managers seconds 3 seconds ago, and every time one comes in and out, we just step back another year at least. Club seems rotten from top to bottom. Who are we getting if he goes? Exactly, mate.
Gavin makes a good point. Should have appointed Moyes instead of Big Sam.
Yeah.
Well, because don't forget, Moyes went to West Ham, didn't he? Well, he was waiting because one of his first games, we beat them 4-0, didn't we? When Sam was there.
No, I agree.
And that would have been a good one.
I'll be honest, and Baz can confirm this, and I can confirm it the other way. We hold absolutely no malice towards David Moyes, and we never really have. I think when he was the manager of Man United and we have Martinez, we were a bit like, that was our first year doing this, and well, at the end of that year, sorry, and we were all a bit sore because of what he tried to do. We were all hyped up by Martinez, but once the Martinez stuff become real, listen, don't get me wrong. I think when Moyes left, I think it was the right time. I think he'd come to the end. He couldn't see the wood for the trees of how he could. He needed to go out. But I'd definitely have him back because I just think I've always retained the fact that I think he's a really good manager and coach. And he's gone to West Ham and he's found himself again. And I think if he'd been left in charge of Man United and if he went back to Man United and knew what he'd done wrong, which was he got rid of too many of the coaching staff and too many of the senior players all in one go. If he kept hold of them players, I think he would have been a success there. And I think he'd be a bigger success than anyone they've had in the meantime.
My thing left for Moyes when my animosity when he got sacked by United, because it was like, well, you've had a go and it wasn't great, and we were all right. And after that, it was just like, I hope he does all right.
And he's all, listen, I would imagine
still an Evertonian.
Would be an Evertonian before anyone.
Still an Evertonian.
Tom Riddle, don't see how any fans can genuinely lay the blame at Rafa at this stage. The recent result of Pride, an easy cop-out for the Boo Boys. Our squad is crap and even Pep wouldn't do any better. We've heard it from every manager, but generally they do need time. We need stability, not another yearly manager search. Georgie Redmond says, do you not just wake up every day hating your old fella for making you support Cozy FC? No, I don't. I don't. Because when I was growing up, Everton were winning trophies and I got my wife through Everton. A lot of my friends are from Everton, got my job through Everton. My sister has her husband through Everton, therefore I have my niece and my nephew from Everton.
And I generally love me dad.
You know,
so
yeah, so I would never ever. And as much as I hate it, it's only because I care so much about my football club. It's the people who run my football club that I have really got an issue with at the moment. I would never. Our football club is absolutely has the potential and has and will again be a amazing institution. And a lot of the things we hold dear are because of our football club, one way or another. And sadly, it's getting let down and has been getting let down. And I reiterate the fact it's been getting let down for 25 years because of the people who run it. And that's where we are. We're in a malaise. We've been overtaken. And I mean, it's more than 25 years. Sorry, it's more than 25 years. It's more like 30 odd years. When at the beginning of the Premier League, when everyone else had a vision of what football was going to be, we didn't. We thought that it was going to be exactly the same, but somehow we were just going to get money from that. But everyone else was envisaging this future. And even Liverpool was slow to it. But everyone else had this image of what the future was going to be. Entertainment, family, a whole package, a whole day, worldwide. And we didn't. We just thought it was going to be football like it had been. And it took us a very, very long time. And then when we finally got the big break, we messed it up. Because we didn't have the right people running our football club. And we still don't have the right people for running our football club. And I'll argue all day with people because I've got evidence. I've got first-hand evidence. It's right there, staring us all in the face. So I would never say I wouldn't want to be an Evertonian. But I would fully understand if people just went, I have to walk away from this because it's just dominates everyone's lives. And it's becoming too much.
Like to be done. All
Jake Thompson says, all right, lads, hope you're well. Who do you reckon would be better at running a football club, Michele or Ronald McDonald?
I don't know.
I think Michele would still be better because I think Ronald McDonald is just a clown, isn't he? A bit of a clown. So
maybe, yeah. There you go.
That's not personal. He's an actual clown.
That's what he is, yeah.
I can call him that to his face. I could say you're a clown, Ronald, because his name is Ronald McDonald,
yeah.
the clown. Keith says, Baz, when do you plan to get Joe Royle on?
ASAP. To be honest, I'm in negotiations, to be honest, with Joe Royle. So
John Chadwick, who is a patron, but says Pad and Baz, but he spelled Baz B-A-S and it's spelled Pad. This is incredible. Do you think we can play Gordon more like we against Wolves in the second half and is another under 23?
On the right.
Yeah, I'd put him in every game now.
He's worth a go now, yeah.
Is anyone else in the under 23s? Onyango, isn't he?
Onyango's the only real.
Brian Garcia says, why do we bother? The protection racket is stifling competition and we kill the game. We are becoming Crystal Palace, Wolves, etc. We're staying in the Premier League is deemed enough. Sad. You're absolutely right, Brian. Jake Abbott says, can you imagine huge figures in football sitting down and meeting with Everton, the likes of the Premier League or other football clubs, and Bill Kenwright starts waffling on? There's no wonder we don't get taken serious. No, hang on. Our boardroom is the envy.
Apparently,
envy of football. Keith Powell says, Marco van Basten, and he's on Match of the Day in Holland, still talks a good game. Marco van Basten was my first non-Everton hero.
Yeah.
My first non-Everton hero, and it still started in 1988. watching him score that hat-trick against England
Oh, super.
was just like, it just showed me this world of just different
Good
football.
football.
There you go.
Zico
There
is
you
super
go.
me. We're done.
We're done. Patron Tuesday topic. The Premier League show is on there as well. Kane's video, Ultimate Fan video. Yeah,
All that.
good stuff.
Cool.
If you're not on Patreon, come on Patreon. It's sound. For £1, you get all the shows on a podcast. For £3, you get daily live videos and exclusives every day. Make sure you check it out. Baz has took his mic off, which means only one thing. He needs a best. See you later.